second tape on bottom wrestling. And at first here, we're going to go through a few things that I probably should have included in the first tape when I was discussing certain series, certain movements. So we'll catch those up right away. Then we'll go into some different things and some other series, and then spend the last part of the tape on different ways of base recovery and also countering different types of rides. We'll also, maybe at the end, we'll be able to put some combinations together as well. So we've got a lot to do. We want to move as fast as we can. So I'm going to ask Brendan to come out here and help me again. Brendan Finch, help me on the last bottom tape. And one of the things that we did the last time, right at the end, we were hurrying to get stuff in, was the step over series, the full or the high step over, and the partial or the low step over. And I just want to go back over a couple things there. I'm going to do the step over on Brendan. If I'm doing a high step over, again, I've got to identify that the guy is next to me. I would have his wrist maybe, but then at the point that I go to do the step over, when I identify that his leg is next to me, and especially if I see that maybe he's not keeping his hips very high, I will let loose of the wrist, pound the mat, try to do a 4-point stand-up as quick as possible, raising my inside leg as high as possible, taking the front of the thigh, cracking him across the pelvis, and reaching for the mat with my toe, and walking my hands. If I can do that, and had control of his wrist but just before I did, he may not get his arm bailed out before I hook him right here. And now we're starting to look at a reverse half right there. You would be amazed how many times you can do full step overs on people, especially as the match goes along and it gets later in the match and the guy is tired and he's not keeping good position. It's a great situation. You just need to look for it. Now, if the guy's behind you, you can't do it. If he's on the side, you can do it. Now, the only way he can stop me if I start over is to adjust by raising his hips quickly enough. That's why I try to crack him. Now, if I start over and he does start to do that, let me get over just a little bit more, Brendan. Right there. He starts to raise, and I can see right now I'm not going to make it. I will score. I will throw this leg back through, and this is one of those cases where I'm going to do a very, very, very long sit. I'm going to throw my whole body out in front, and all I'm going to do with my hand here and his wrist is to push it. I'm just going to brush it like that. And I'm just throwing myself as far as I can. So while he's coming up, I'm coming down through, throwing myself out here and just trying to turn. I'm going to be ready to protect myself in case he tries to jump on me at that point. So, Brendan, why don't you try here? He's starting to come over me here, and I react. No, he doesn't have my hand. You don't have my hand. There you go. So both hands are on the mat. As I start to come up, he's just going to launch himself. Go. Boom. There it is. Beautiful. Okay. I feel like if you get started over the man's back with a full step over, you're going to score at least an escape. Maybe a reversal, maybe a pin. So it's a good deal. Okay. Look for that. That is not used very often. Very nice. Okay, also, the low step over, the partial step over, let me do this by myself for a second, Brendan. Slide off over there. As I'm setting this up, any kind of a sit motion and a turn, if he's following me, I'm going to be able to have a chance to do a low or partial step over. The knee comes to the head. I've got to put my weight on that knee and my head, and as he follows me, I can lift this leg up and step over and hook his leg. So it's important to put your weight on your head and on your other knee. Then once you step over, you must keep the wrist. If you ever lose the wrist, you must unhook as quickly as possible. Because if you don't, he may start doing an outside forced half, just cranking your neck, and you can get your shoulder or neck hurt with that type of a thing. Okay, so here we go, Brendan. Come on in here. Remember the three options, and I want to point out one little thing about them. I'm going to turn here,
And he's going to let me step over. Now at this point, I keep the wrist, keep it pinched. My other arm, my forearm is on the mat. My palm is down, and I drop my hips down, suck in my air, and try to get my shoulder way back by his hip joint. Way back by his hip joint. At that point, as soon as I'm there, I start driving hard and pushing with this hand and making my elbow circle around and try to block his leg to knock him over. Here's going into the reverse bear hug right now. Okay, so that's our knockdown. Now the roll part, I just want to mention on this real quick here. I'll just get into this position. The roll part, again, my shoulder's always back under. As I am driving diagonally into him again to knock him down, he's going to get his leg back. And a lot of times I'll set this roll up just by sort of half driving into the guy, and he thinks I'm coming hard, but I'm not really going for that knockdown. I'm going for the roll. And I want to get up in the air. I want to get him up in the air, get lots of space, and then this knee comes sliding right in. It's a head and shoulders up roll, and an elbow and hip down roll, and my elbow or my elbow and my tricep go right across his waist, knock him down, and again we're right in that same position that we were when we got the knockdown. It's a great roll. It's fun to do. Okay, and then the last one, that swim that I did at the end of the last tape, and that is if the guy's really stretching out on me, really posting and everything, so I can't get under him and drive him across or roll him, all of a sudden I let loose of the hand and really slap the mat hard, and that will help you pull the other arm back under, swim back under. Now I've got actually a hooked leg ride right now, and he's broken down, so that's my reversal. Okay, so those are the options off of the low or partial step over. You can get that all the time if a guy is following you. Now, a couple other things that I will come back to this sit finish position, but I want to catch up on a couple other things that I omitted. On the arch up stand up, this is a great thing. You don't have to take an escape. You can get a reversal on the arch up. Because the arch up, remember, a lot of times you pin the guy down on the mat. So just go to that arch up and stop. Boom, right there. And he's going to try to touch his head back on me. And I'm holding his weight right now. And we talked about the fact that I can pull him and he'll step sideways and do his thing. Or if I come up, he can walk his hips away. But right here, I really like the fact that if you get up quickly, try to jam his wrist down to the side of your leg. And now watch Brendan. He's just going to turn and roll right down my back, and he gets a reversal right here. Okay, so let's do once more. You would be surprised how easy it is to do this. He's got my wrist. He pops up, and as soon as he gets up, that arm is going down, and there it is. And a lot of times, now Brendan's got a nice habit. He's taking his other hand, he's starting to grab my fingers. But actually, as he pops up, if he can V my wrist right there, if he can just V it down, he can turn without even bothering to reach across. So he'll know soon enough. If he can't V it down, then he can reach across and get the 2-on-1. Okay, so that's an excellent situation. You know where you're going. This guy on bottom, all he's trying to do is scramble, and you can usually catch his hip joints or an ankle or a leg. And so that's a good deal. Now, I want to go to another one. We did an arm spin situation. Now, I think I'm going to have Brendan do this with me. Let's come down toward the window here. And we talked about the fact that we take the arm spin toward our head, throw our knee over, and we can either duck out, or if his elbow goes between my legs, he can roll me to my back. But there is one other thing that you can do with this, one other direction. And that is he's going to take his legs and he's going to turn his legs sideways. His lower legs are going to turn sideways, and he's going to point his knees toward the bar here, toward the camera. And he's going to hold real tight to this, and he's trying to dig his feet in the mat. Now his rear should actually come right up off the mat, and he's going to try to make himself launch. He's going to try to lay out in midair and make himself go to his shoulder. as he does, I go to my shoulder. Now, the farther he launches and the more he lays out, the worse it is on me. Now, see, he's still got my arm trap. As soon as he lands, he's going to try to jam in on the mat and get both hands out on that wrist if he can. He's going to keep that stiff on the mat, and he's going to use the big muscles of his body to tractor back and stretch me and stretch me and stretch me, and then all of a sudden, he's going to keep a hold with his left hand, with his top hand, but he's going to make his knees go back to the mat quickly and throw his other arm back through and cut me off. Now, right here, we're in this over and under situation, and I'm in a bad position. So that's how he finishes that. Now, if he doesn't do a good job with his hips coming back in and keeping my wrist pinned right down here on the mat, keeping that pin right there, if he doesn't come back in here, then I'll climb back up on him. I'll climb around him and hook around him. But if he gets his rear right up in there, there you go. Now I'm not climbing around anything. Now all of a sudden his knees come back toward the hand and he rotates and he cuts me off right there. I don't have much chance right there. Okay, so that's the other direction you could take the arm spin. Okay, let's see here now. The Granby. There's something that I used to always do. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm getting too heavy, too much in my gut to do a good job of it right now, so Brendan's going to help me out, and then maybe if I lose a little more weight here, I'll be able to start doing it better myself. He's starting to do the Granby like I've talked about doing here. And so let's see, I chop him here. I'm chopping him and going, and all of a sudden, he sort of gets stalled here. Now, we don't want to get stalled here. So what he's going to do, he's going to kip off of his head and shoulders, and as his feet start to get over there, he's going to twist toward my legs. If he keeps my wrist in his hand, he's going to hang me for sure. If it got loose, he still might hang me because I may not have bailed out. I may have still been holding him, see? And my experience is that this guy leaves that arm there longer than he ought to. And so you might hang a guy just like he's hanging me in a reverse half. So this could save your cookies if the guy's hips are not too high. So here we go. He's up in here, I'm chopping him, and he's starting to go, and I'm stopping him, and he just kips right away, twist back. Oh, beautiful. Nice job. And all of a sudden he turned disaster into the end of the match. Okay, so that's a little wrinkle that you might do, especially for more athletic kids. More coordinated type kids. Okay, so that's that. Now let's see now. I'm trying to cover the things that I wanted to make sure we got in here. Okay, and Brendan, if you can think of anything I've missed so far, you can let me know as we go. One of the things that I said wrong, I said two things wrong last time, had to do with switches. And where I was showing how you come around and rotate and chop down, and I was talking about my legs, and I was showing that my legs are parallel to the guy, so hopefully you picked up on that. But I said perpendicular, and that's wrong. We don't want them to be perpendicular. We always want them to be as parallel as possible. And I said it twice, so I don't know where my mind was, but I was thinking the right thing, I just wasn't saying the right thing. So parallel legs. Now, with that, okay, I'll come back and do a couple more things. We're going to do some more things out of the sit out and turn in to give you some more options here in a second. Thank you. We're going to do a couple things with this switch business because there are a couple things that we need to do on that. The outside switch, in fact, I'm going to do it this way. Let me turn my rear to the camera, and Brendan, you come over here on this side, face the window, and I'm going around. I want them to see what happens here. As I chop down here, if the guy tries to step over me, now let's say you've got fairly good position with your shoulders, so keep your shoulders up, keep your shoulders up. I'm chopping him, and he's trying to step over. What am I trying to do? I'm posting out here, and I'm trying to keep my leg in front of your leg so that you can't get stepped over, and I'm reaching for your thigh.
and I'm scooting, and eventually I hope to get good leverage, break you down forward, or at least trap the arm and go around you. So that's one thing. So if I feel a guy starting to step over, I'm going to try to get my leg up in the air and make my hip scoot and get in good position here and chop him down and score. That's the first thing. The other thing is, and this is sort of an old-time move, but I have a lot of fun with it because it does work, a lot of leverage in here. I'm switching again, and this time maybe his shoulders are down pretty good, but he makes a mistake. He tries to step over. As he does, I catch him right here. So look what I'm doing. As he steps, I've already got my one arm in there. I just put my other arm right over that hand, hand over hand, and I try to pull this up to my chest. Now when I do you see how his hips start turning sideways? He's going to roll over his shoulder, over his inside shoulder. See, his hand is trapped in here. His arm is trapped. I'm going to elevate this leg that's in between his legs. This foot on the outside is my pusher foot. I'm going to lay back on my back and I'm going to look toward him. So I'm going to roll over my inside shoulder. Nobody goes straight over their head here. I'm turning his body sideways and I'm going to go over my shoulder, pushing with this outside leg, kicking with my other leg, and then I can even take my one hand and post and push to here. Now when we land, I need to limp arm. I'm throwing that limp arm out of there and trying to come under his far arm, not around his head. If I start going for his head, I might miss that, and then he may go around me. So I'm going to limp arm all the way around, come under here, and try to drive through. Now in this case, I had my one leg land inside his legs. So I'm up in the leg position that we call the catbird, even with his arm in there, it doesn't matter. But sometimes I'll land inside with both legs. Sometimes I'll land a straddle the other way. And sometimes I might land all the way out here. That's not too common, but it does happen. So it sort of is a little of a surprise deal where we're really going to end up with our legs. Let's do this once more. This is called the elevator, and it's great. Guy goes to step over, catch him, boom, push it. See, both legs. I guess it's not that much of an out of the ordinary thing. Both of my legs came out right there. Now, if he's already down, now I start coming with a facelift situation. Run that right up on the head, and he's in trouble. Or go ahead and hold my leg again. I got a bundle here, bundle situation. I could step through Turk, back through him. Just good stuff. I could sit under him. All kinds of good things here. Okay, so that is our elevator, and that's a nice counter to trying to block it and step over. Okay, Brendan, how's our time
We
going?
got 19 minutes.
All right. All right. Now, I want to make one other correction here. Brendan, let's have you get on the left side of me with your knees down. And I mentioned about the inside switch that was going to go under the arm, that we didn't take a step. Well, that was wrong also. That's not true. We do take a step, just like our regular inside switch. Remember, regular inside switch, let's say the guy's grabbing my ankle and coming around my waist, how I step forward about 4 inches and cross over, raise up, chop them, because I want to get diagonally out from under him. Same thing here. Same thing with this. And I just misspoke. So as I start to do this, I'm going to be crossing over, and I'm going to be jamming right up through that armpit. So as he, especially if he's starting to drive me, or if he stepped up behind me a little bit, if he stepped up even, this is nice, because as he starts to do that, I'm going to step, cross over, and again, if he's over me, but most likely in referee's position. Let's go back to referee. This is where it's real nice. Nice referee. He's going to start going. Whistle blows, boom, and like if he's going to chop me or something, ready to go. And then I'm going to come around. I'm just trying to come back under his armpit and knock him on his side. That's where I'm going. Okay, the more you play with this, the more it can actually feel good to you. But it's one of those deals, you've got to make your step and cross at the same time, and then through there on that hip. Okay, and the elbow comes right up toward his armpit. Okay, now we got one called rock and roll here, and I learned this from some of the Granby people years ago. I like it. It's when we've done a sit, we've turned in, our head's on the mat, and we catch the far ankle. The near ankle, and we've got a situation where we might be up on the leg a little bit, but I like to try to get down to the ankle as much as I can. Okay, at this point, my head's on the mat for balance. My closest knee to Brendan, my left one here, slides under my chest. At that point, now I can start stepping up with this other foot. Slide some more, and I'm trying to get my head and shoulders under his chest. Step, slide. Now, if he's a little bit lazy with his weight here, I'll just sit and arch back, and you can see how he's going to fall back. It's just going to be a crack back, and he's going to fall. But now we're going to have to roll this. So let's turn a little bit.
That's good.
That's good? Okay, because I'm going to face this way a little bit more, and the camera's over there, right? Okay. Okay, this takes some space here. So I've already set here, and I've got him cracked up here, and he's fighting against me. All of a sudden, I can throw this leg under him, elbow and hip are on the mat, and look it's a half roll, half lift. My head and shoulders are up. I pull on the leg, pull on the ankle. He goes over, and then I let go and come up. Keep the wrist, and at this point, I might post, come up. This is where I mentioned the rib binder the other day. I'm going to do it soft, Brendan, because of my size. But I keep the wrist. I raise myself off the mat. Just my feet are on the mat. Turn and drop the side of my ribs down into his armpit. Bam! And I really pop it down on the guy my size. That really binds him. Then, okay?
Yep.
Then I'm here. Put my hand in put my forearm down and walk around to the head and pin him. And if he raises his far shoulder, I step over and double grapevine right there. He usually doesn't want to raise his far shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Brendan.
That's fine.
But I was in good position. I couldn't let it pass here.
Right.
Okay, he'll get me back later, I'm sure. Okay, now, that's the rib binder pin, and that does pin him. Now, that's a rock and roll. So you've got two choices off the rock and roll position. You can cut it back to his back, or you can sit underneath, arch up, lift, take him over. And it's a nice deal. The secret is sliding your knee, your close knee, under, getting your head and shoulders under his chest, and taking short steps with your outside foot. And you can do this. It's real nice. Keep the wrist. Okay, another possibility when we've turned in, I refer to this as an arm and leg roll or arm and leg position. And here it is. I do it just a little bit different than some people. As I turn in and I'm here, if he's close enough, I put my elbow through, not anything else. Elbow goes through first, then my arm opens up, and I circle around his leg. Can they see that at all?
Yep. Run
Okay.
the line.
Okay. All right, there's the camera, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's turn it. Okay, so elbow goes through, around, and now I got this. Now watch. I'm going to slide down toward this hand. I'm on my forehead again. I slide back, keep supporting myself with my forehead, stretch his wrist and the arm that it's attached to until I can hook over it. So I slide back down and stretch it and lock it right there. So I got a lock on that right now with the arm that's around the leg. My other hand is now free. Okay, I do one of two things. If his knees are close, which it is right now, I roll. And when I go to roll, I'm just going to take my outside knee and slide it in, and I'm going to take my free arm and push off the mat. Right there. And he goes just like a baby. Now, notice where we are. We're in a Granby pin, except I'm not setting up enough. So, I usually come in here with a V and push that down, set myself up, catch him, start going here. See, I always want my hips up near his body, up near his ribs. Okay, let's make sure we're back in the center here.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Now, so that's the roll part of it. Now let me just hook up here and I'll do the sit part so people can see that. If his legs go back away, now I can't do the roll, so I just open up my knee to the outside, and this hand that's free is going to pound on the mat. My head and shoulders are going to arch up. Everything's going to go back into this guy, and I'm going to sit through and take him, because his leg is not there for a post. Now I'm in the same position. I push myself up, catch his head, start tractoring, and then I'm going to end up pinning him in a Granby pin. So either roll with the arm and leg or sit through. Now, the deal is that it's sort of like there's a third option. And the third option is sort of like the swim in that low step over. And that is, if I'm trying to get this guy and he keeps his leg back and he won't let me lock up, then all of a sudden I pull that arm out of there, rotate my knees, and let him fall. And I've got a reversal. You keep the wrist. In this case I had a hammer lock. I could have put it on the other side of the belly and it would have been an arm bar. So we rotate our knees out. If he keeps sprawling, won't let us come through and get locked, which most of them will. But as soon as you feel him sprawl, rotate your knees toward his head, duck out, and you've got a reversal right there, because you're supporting him. So don't stay in there and fight, and try to get the thing locked up. You're just defeating yourself at that point. Okay, those are a couple more things that we can do when the guy is coming, when we're turning in and he's coming around. Now, when he, when we're getting this lock, you've got to make sure that you go back to his leg. You must go back. Don't pull his leg to you. You go back to his leg and lock that thing up. That's very important to do. Don't try to roll if you're not locked. I use my other hand a lot, remember, on the mat, pushing off and so forth. Don't try to do it if you're not locked. Things could come unraveled on the way over. You could be in trouble. Okay, so that's a little bit about that philosophy. Now, let's have Brendan hook my leg. We call this a hooked leg ride, and we already showed how we can change hands and go in and do a cross-arm roll on this. And we just stretch out here and do our roll and put him down. But we can also do a couple other nice things from here when this leg is being hooked. Number one is I've got his outside wrist, and I'll just simply take my outside foot and try to arch my head and shoulders up, try to get this foot up here and blast. Now, I didn't do a good job right there. If he's really driving you forward, you're not going to get this. But if he's sort of sitting back on that leg, boom, right there it is. That's where it is. Now, you must make sure you don't hurt your toe. And so as you go back, this leg of yours, you want to point toward his outside foot. So as you fall back, that toe is not going to get, I caught myself here because I thought we were by the wall, but I would have kept that wrist all the way back. That toe is not going to get hurt right there. Now when we land, I can either get my legs out and do some good things here, or remember, this leg is in here, that was hooked. I can lift it, come around, and here we're starting to get into my free leg cradle position again. I like my free leg cradle stuff. Anytime my leg's inside his leg, I try to spin around perpendicular and get that free leg cradle. Okay, let's look at that once more. Let's go over here just a little bit. Okay, if he's not driving me with that leg, all of a sudden I come here and I watch my tricep. I'm coming back, smash, right here, tricep and elbow, boom, right here, and I'll either throw my legs out or go going to the free leg cradle, letting this wrist go. Okay, that's called a near side toe hook. Near side toe hook. Now, one that I really love to do is called the far side toe hook. And it is just almost 100%er. You score virtually any time you do this. You're at least going to get an escape. And usually you'll get a reversal and back points, maybe a pin. So here we go, Mr. Brendan. He's got my leg hooked again. And I've got his wrist. But this time, I'm going to all of a sudden let go of the wrist and put that hand out to the side. And that's my first of 3 hand movements. Okay, so that goes out there once, cross, and uncross. And while that's happening, I do it as hard as I can, and chances are he'll try to be holding on to this one arm as I start to cross here. See how it stretches him out if he does that? If he tries to hold on, that's what I want. And so as I uncross, I will have done one other important thing while I was doing those 3 hand movements. This inside knee that's on the mat stays there, but I rotate my lower leg so that my toe goes over his far leg now. That's my far side toe hook right there. So we're wrestling. I got his wrist. Now all of a sudden, one hand, cross hand, open up, and now I've got his leg trapped. My whole goal was to have done this fast enough so that I get around almost perpendicular to him and get my hips up. All of a sudden I got a 4-point stand up. See how my hips passed his leg, past his hip right now. Now before he can raise his hips, I want to do a lot of pitter-patter, and at that point I start throwing in an arc my free leg. Throw that weight over there, and right here I lock up my free leg cradle, right here. Sometimes, come on back, sometimes he'll be fighting me up in here, and I'll just catch him right here and lock it right here and take the whole thing back and pin him right there. Okay, so let's look at it once more. He's riding. I got a hold of him. All of a sudden, here's my 1, 2, 3, pop my hips. See, I'm past him now, and I got to go just super fast when I do that. Time is the essence. So as I pop my hips, get my hips up, boom, 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 throw that leg. Oh, he's broken now. I broke his balance. If he turns toward me, I just hook this, sit up and pin him right here. That's a good deal. Okay, so that's our free leg cradle finish off of the far side toe hook. Now, I said I'm going to get an escape if I don't get a reversal. So, is that the camera?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I'm in here, start going, and this guy's a very quick reactor, or else I don't do this very well. And I start to come up, and he starts to raise his hips, because that's the only way he can stop me. Now, notice, if he starts to raise his hips, I still had him hooked a little bit, but there's going to be more space in here now, see? Let's turn the face down a little bit more. Okay, so ready? Going here. He starts to raise his hips, I throw just like I did with the full step over, the escape out of the full step over. I just push off my side, throw my leg through, I just sort of corkscrew it out, limp leg it out, and throw my body as far as I can. I will score 1 because he's still raising up and opening the space in the legs for me to come out of there. And I can feel that I'm not going to beat his hips. I'm not going to get over, so I bail out and score. So that's fun. I like that. And it really, most guys, I put them right on their back because they're not used to it. They never are thinking about how they're getting blocked off and that they're getting trapped in that back leg there. Their back door is getting trapped up. Okay, how's our time now?
35.
All right, we're doing good. Now, I want to cover a couple other series here that we alluded to at the beginning. And I don't do a lot with the whizzer.
But the wizard can at least help you get an escape, if not a reversal. And so it's something that we ought to think about in here. So Brendan, from the referee's position, when you've got your leg back behind and everything, I've got this, whoops, I don't have that wrist. Okay, as the whistle blows, I'm going to be trying to catch his wrist, and I'm going to try to be stepping with my outside foot, but leaving my inside knee on the mat. So as he starts to drive me, I'm up in here. Now, depending on where his head is, if his head's over to the left fairly well, I'll rotate around. This used to be called the windmill hip lock at one time way back when. Rotate around, and now as I go to come back over his head, I've got to move this leg out in front a little bit. Now notice what I've done here. I've got his wrist. I don't have to keep that. In fact, once I get over, I usually let the wrist go. Depending on his position, if his head's down, I'll start working into like a quarter Nelson situation here. And that goes into some of our takedown stuff. But at this point, it's like a takedown, or it's like a counter to a takedown. Okay, so I'm looking for at least one, maybe two out of this. If his head is up, I do this. I double up my fist. You never hit anybody with your fist, but I'm going to pop my forearm right into him, pop my forearm, and I start with the little finger side right there. And then I'm going to put my weight on that shoulder and rotate and make my thumb side go up against it right there. So I'm going to be here, I'm going to go pop and then rotate. And now I'm out in front of this guy. I can go into a front headlock. I can push off his shoulders if I want to get out of there. I wouldn't want to get out of there. Once I'm out here, I'm going to try to get his head down, try to keep his elbows in, or his arms trapped on the mat. And I'm going to look for drags. I might look for a drag coming back around here. I might try to get my hip past his arm over here, that type of thing. If I can make the man touch his hands to the mat, that's what I want right there. So that gave me an opportunity. When I'm up in here and his head's up, I go smack right there and turn and face him. Right there. Try to get his head down. Now I'm in business right now. Okay. That's one possibility. Oh, I'm sorry. Another possibility is, whether his head's down or not, I come down and grab my own thigh, right here. And at this point, I'm going to straighten my arm up, throw my head and shoulders out that way, and try to put my hip into him a little bit. Now, let's say he's a stud muffin, and he holds on to me pretty good, but I make him post a little bit right there. Now, all of a sudden, I sit right out away from him. So I'm making him support me. All right, let's try this again. I've come up to here. All of a sudden, I'm going to put weight on your shoulder, so you got to catch yourself. Now, this leg is going to sit right out in front of me, like that. I just rotate out. So I put weight on him, and then I rotate out away. You can do that. Now, you're saying, well, is he going to flank me? Possibly, but most of the time, if I'm up in here and I make him post right here, especially if I'm pushing on that head, he's going to have trouble flanking me. And I'm going to rotate that leg out. There's my escape right there. I don't think enough guys do that. Now, here's the knockdown. Same idea. I'm going to catch, I've rotated out, I've rotated over, and I'm going to get on my thigh right here. Now right here, I'm going to try to hip into him. If I can knock him on his side, on your side, right there. Now watch this. I put my foot like if he's doing good. He's keeping his top leg guarded. But a lot of guys, let's come back here. Let's move back here away so they can see. Let's say that he's, okay, I got him in here, and we knock him down, and he falls, and his top leg goes back. His top leg goes back. If I could put my toe, I'm putting my toe inside his knee, right here in the mat, posting it. That's a far side toe hook, right there. So anytime, especially if a guy, here, let me say it this way. If he starts grabbing my leg, right here, I pop my knee right up into his gut and try to pop him right down on his side. Then I rotate that foot
right over that bottom leg. If I can get that foot over the bottom leg, right here, I let go of my whizzer, bring my arm around to post my hand right on the mat, and my forearm is right behind his neck, real tight to his neck. Free leg over, reach through, grab, he's in trouble. Sometimes his arm's trapped in here, sometimes it isn't. But I've got my free leg cradle right here. As soon as I do that, I post back behind his head again, start walking, lock it up, step back over, hit it, right here. Were we in the... Were we okay?
Yep.
Okay. So, here's our camera, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, now, that is a little bit about what I try to do with that whizzer. Now, there is one thing more that I do, but I don't teach a lot of guys to do it, and that is I'll pop down on this, and the guy's fighting back up against me here. Then I will step and pancake him. Thing about a pancake is you could end up on your back if you don't do it right. And when you pancake, you're coming around and you do a lot of it with your legs. Most guys think it's all with the arms, but what I'm really trying to do when I go to pancake under that front arm is I really pull him up straight here. Very important. And this knee down here I'm rotating, this knee I'm stepping, and as I'm throwing, now right here, look, I'm leaning back and I'm arching and I'm pulling this shoulder. It's not this one that makes the difference. It's this one back here. Right to there. Okay, so let me do that with my back to these guys. Back to the camera. Okay, so I'm pressing down, guy fights up, come in here. Now see, I'm pulling him. Pulling him right to there. So it's an arch. Now when we land, it's pretty tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a good situation going here. That's the pancake, but I don't teach it to too many guys because it's dangerous if you don't practice it enough to get really good at it. It's a pull up, stretch, and then rotate. A lot of it is from the waist down and then a nice arch up here. Okay. All right, how's it time?
43.
All right, here we go. This other series here, this last series let's recall, we did a bear crawl with a quarter turn is one way we could head out of a referee's position. Another way is to do a changeover where we come back to our base and the guy's reaching around us. We got him moving, made him change sides and so forth. It's wonderful. You can put changeovers in anywhere. Then we did our stand-up stuff. Then we did our sit-out stuff. So now we just finished doing our fifth thing, which was the whizzer possibilities. And this last one, I really have always liked this. Except when I was in school, I only knew one thing about this. Now there's three of them that I know, and it's a lot of fun. We used to just call it the inside roll. But now since it's a whole series, and really trapping the shoulder is the big deal here, I've named it so the kids will remember shoulder wrap series. Sometimes I refer to it as inside shoulder wrap series. Okay, let's look at this, Brendan. We can do this anytime at all, but from the referee's position, go ahead and get in that position, it's not a bad deal. Again, he's driving, and all I'm trying to do is rotate up here, and a lot of times he will be either chopping or just sort of still have his hand on that, and right here as I step up with the outside foot and rotate this arm, sort of like I was going to do the windmill whizzer, I am reaching. So if he's holding on at all or trying to chop, I'm reaching in here, and I'm trying to pull that off like that, or if he's really got it hooked like that, then I'm going to have to V it like that and try to pull my arm back. Any way I can. Most of the time I can just catch it like that. I can just put my hand in, palm down, and he won't have enough of me, and I just pull it out, especially if I'm sweaty. Now, here's the motion. I'm going to come around. Again, I adjust this. I spin on this knee a little bit, step around, and I have to overhook his shoulder. Not down here by the elbow, but over the shoulder.
right there. Get over that shoulder. Now everything is going to be fun. See, I still have his wrist in my hand too. 3 possibilities. Number 1 is the roll. Number 2 is the duck behind. Number 3 is the stand-up. Now, here's our tape here. Watch how this roll goes. I'm elevated here. I'm way high off the mat with my shoulders. I'm going to take lots of power here. I'm going to take my shoulders down to the mat. My shoulder and side of the head are going to go to the mat. I'm going to swing this leg back, and as I do, I'm going to be dropping down here with my shoulder, and my knee will eventually go down. So, right there. See how it goes down? Okay, so I swing, and I put my head and shoulder right down in here. I'm pulling, and at the last minute, I might let go of this hand and post myself down here. And here he goes. Boom. Now, as my head and shoulder goes down, his shoulder's got to go down. Now, the reason why I post is that I'm going to use that hand to push off. I also push off my outside foot, and I get this inside leg as high and as quick as I can, and I don't want to turn my back to him. I'm going to keep the front of my thigh facing the mat. Now, that's important. If you turn your back to him, it's going to be a scramble. Front of the thigh faces the mat. Now I'm going to have a pinning situation. Okay? Good, Brendan? You okay?
Yep.
Okay. Don't want to put too much weight on him here. Squash my partner. Okay, here we go. Okay, so anytime I'm up here and he's wrestling with me, if I can just, now right here, see, he's got too much over. I can't reach under there and pull it out. So I'm just going to beat it down. Right here. And rotate around and catch. Right here. Now he could try to bear hug me right now, and if he drives into me, boy, did he make a mistake. See? And I'm just going to try to get up and over like that. Just up and over. Okay? Big mistake. He provided me some help with his energy. Okay, let's go back just a little bit more here. Now, I'm going to duck under this time. Okay, boom. Boy, he keeps hooking me, so I got to keep taking it off the way I normally don't have to take it off that way. But that's good. Okay, now, I'm going to just lift this wrist, swing my leg around, and run my head right under there. As I do, I'm spinning on the knee that's on the mat, and as I get to here, I let go of the wrist, and my hand that it was on the arm that wrapped can pull a little bit, and I'm just going to spin. There's the pull, right there. Now notice, I didn't go behind. I just spun. I want him to catch himself there, and I let him get his other hand free, and I try to go for his far arm and near leg. Either that, or both arms come down and his head comes up. I do the bulldog and toss him over. Either way, I'm looking to toss him on his back right there. So I want to get perpendicular and nail him right there. Okay, let's look at it again. I got it? Okay, I'm shoulder wrapped right here. And all of a sudden, I'm just going to step, pull, and right here, I'm going to try to go right in for the pin. As soon as he touches the mat, I'm going to go after him. Right there. Okay, so it becomes part of my finish right there. All right, that's the duck under. Now, stand up. This is easy. Okay? So what really is amazing, see, I'm gonna wrap, see I have to move this foot to wrap. Now if I want to stand up, I just lean on his shoulder. Stand up. I'm already up. Now, couple choices. Okay? If he stays down, I can throw this leg back and look at the power I got from my roll now. Through him, boom! I can really nail him. I can throw him into the next county and step over. Okay? I didn't want to step over that time. Okay? 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 I can always drop down and duck under again. I can always stand up and he'll come up and I can do, like my regular roll. Look at what I've done here. If I've got a shoulder wrapped, I don't bother coming down for the wrist like I did in the standing roll. That's the camera? Yep. Okay. I just keep this and go right into my, boy is he caught, for the standing roll. Or, watch this. I just bend, rotate, and watch. I'm getting my hips all the way out. I got
his leg here. And what I do with this is I come out, I kneel, and I take him back. Right? He doesn't know which way he's going. See? And as I take him back, see, I can come around and try to go in there. Usually I'll come in here and go for a reverse bear hug, that type of thing. But I can really stun him, but got to be careful. I can put him right on his back like that. Okay? So look at that. Look at this again. I'm here. Right there. He goes up. Now I don't have to take it backwards. I could grab, see, I got a double here now. See? I could kneel down and put him right on his back right here. That's some good stuff right there. We haven't done that, have we, Brendan?
I don't think so.
I think he's going to be doing that to me pretty soon. Okay, how's our time?
51.
Okay, now, one other thing. If I'm standing up and he stands up with this, I can always go behind here and trap him up. I'd rather not. That's not nearly as good as staying down on the mat and doing that. Okay, this is a lot of fun, this shoulder wrap series. So, let's pretend I'm wrestling, and I get to this position here, and I just simply push up on this knee, and there it is, right here. There it is. Now he's in trouble. I got my roll, I got my duck, I got my stand. Can't stop me. It's a good deal. Any kind of driving by him helps me with his roll. You feel it?
Yep.
If he drives, I roll. Easy. Okay. All right. So those are things that we can do from the referee's position. What's our time now?
52.
Okay. Now, I'm going to just throw in a couple other little things here, but they're big things. Everybody's going to have a couple things in each position which are sucker deals. So that, like, if I'm getting really beaten bad by this guy, or time's about over with, and I need something, a little desperation thing to try to win the match. Doesn't matter if I lose by a pin or if I lose it doesn't, maybe it's in a tournament, doesn't make that much difference. So doesn't penalize my team, let's say. So here I am, I'm losing to this guy. Nothing's worked for me all match. So I've got a wrist control though, and for somehow I get up to my base situation right here. I get this far. Now, I don't have to be here long, but as I'm getting up here, I had this wrist. I'm going to bait this guy. I'm going to turn this way to the camera. As I get up here, I'm going to put this wrist outside my leg and let go. Now, this looks harmless enough to most people, but at this point, I'm setting him up. Now, what does it look to you like you should do? Yeah, he should get a cradle, shouldn't he? Okay. So, at this point, look what I've done with my arm. As I let his arm go, I've grabbed under my own thigh here to get my arm out of the way, and my head's in here for a cradle. Now, I have to practice enough to know how close I can put my head without killing myself here. So, I know that I need about this much space right here with my head. So I let him lock around and get his lock. And then I become an actor. Now notice I've got my post here. I'm sitting on my lower leg and my foot. So I got a little bit of a base here. Now all of a sudden this guy's going to start to take me back, see? And at this point I'm really straining. I'm stretching. I'm making faces. You know, I don't want to get cradled. All right, that's part of the deal. And I want to fight it. I want to make him really try to pull me hard. And when he finally pulls me hard, I throw myself with it. And what's going to happen is I double up my fist here, and I really pop my bicep up through here, and I've stretched enough so that I can duck my head back down through this hole, hopefully. Okay? So as he throws, I throw my own leg, my other leg here. It's like the bottom leg of a sit-up. I throw that, I pop this, and I throw this knee to my, yeah, okay, and I throw this knee to my head. It's all like a sit-out motion, and I duck my head through. Now, keep your arm back here. Duck my head through, and this arm that's coming up tries to catch his head. So as I throw my knee to my head, I'm catching. Now, a lot of times
Let's go back here.
Let's do that. Let's turn this way. Is this good? Is the camera over here?
No, it's right over there.
All right, okay, here we go. Right here. Go ahead and catch that right there. Catch that. Okay, now, see I'm stretching? I'm even sitting down now. Okay, I'm stretching. As he throws it, and I pop up through here, now try to keep your arms together. Try to keep your arms. See, my head's coming out right here. My head's coming out. I throw real hard, pop this, and my head's coming out, and I keep it. That's what'll happen. See how I've got his leg trapped? I mean, his arm trapped with my leg, and I've got his head. Now right here, I'll just push that hip on over, and a lot of times I'll just keep that arm like that. I might come close to pinning him right here, and I go over and under, and now I do pin him. Not over and under, double trouble. I'm over both arms, pulling under his head, pinching my elbows, my head, my ears down next to him, and I drop my belly on him, drop my load on him, and pin him right there. That is at least a 5-point move. If you don't pin him, it's at least a 5-pointer. Okay, it's called the sucker cradle. Sucker cradle. Okay, here we go again. To set it up, we've got to have our arms. See, I'm sitting down and doing it now. I got to have my arm under my own thigh. As he locks it, he can't resist it. I got to start straining. I got to start straining and stretching. When he tries to take me, I try to post a little bit, so he can't take me right away. He's trying to pull, struggle. Finally, when he throws it, I drop my head through, grab for his head, come out, and there we are. There we are, Phil. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to pin him right there. Sometimes I'll keep his arm trapped in my leg all the way to the pin. Right there. Gets bound up in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it's
a little bit. Okay, so that's the sucker cradle. That's one of those kind of moves that everybody needs to have something that they can sucker somebody into. That's one of them right there. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit with a roll, and then we're going to get into the outside leg lever series here in just a second. How's our time?
57.
Okay. I'm going to go over my version of the outside roll. A lot of people over the years they call this the fat man's roll and all this kind of stuff. And all it is a shoulders down roll. Now most of the rolls we've been doing, most of them here, like the hip roll and the cross arm roll and a rock and roll, those are all with the shoulders up. Couple, the roll that was out of the partial step over was shoulders up roll, the tornado roll, shoulders up roll. Those are very nice rolls, hips down, shoulders up. But the Granby and the outside roll and the arm and leg roll, those guys are shoulders down roll, and the arm spin roll, those are all shoulders down roll. Now, the outside roll is still very useful, but everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people get in trouble because number one, they're hooking with elbows, and you should never do that. You should always have hand on wrist. And number two is they don't have their hips up and shoulders down. They fall in the way of the roll on their side, where both things are down. Now, what that's going to get you against a good guy is a half getting driven in over here on the top side. Has that ever happened, Brendan? You ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's how to teach it. Here's how to do it. You want to try, you got the wrist, and we're catching on the side of his wrist here, and you want to try to stretch it as much as you can, and you want to get it high as possible. Number two, your outside knee crosses over in front of this knee on the mat to make a very narrow base. Number three, your shoulder and the side of your head go down in front of your knee. So all of a sudden, all of that is over here bunched up together, and your butt is up in the air. Now again, you only roll this guy when he's what? When he's next to you. When his leg is next to your leg. When his hip is next to your hip. If he's behind you, you don't do this roll. Okay? But if you've done a sit out and he's coming around or something, he's there. You can do this. So, here's the way to drill it. You stay up in a high position to drill it. We can do it from low, but stay up here to drill it. Stretch. Bring your knee across in front. See how my hand is here on the mat for a post, for balance? as my head and shoulders go down, I'm going to look back toward this man. And my rear is up in the air. And one last thing is, I am going to push off my toes. Okay? As I've crossed over here, this toe is going to be pushing off the mat. This toe of this crossing knee. The other leg is going to stay bent, and the lower part of my leg is in front of his thigh, right there. My hand that was posting could come in front of his other knee. My shoulder goes down, he goes over at an angle. And then I jam right in here on the inside of his armpit. I've got his wrist, and we can do all kinds of manner of evil. I can do a rib binder right now. Shall I do that, Brendan?
Oh, I think they say that.
Okay. All right. Now, let's see where our tape is. Okay. I'm going to do just one or two of these by myself, Brendan.
Okay.
So go ahead and slide out. Here's the angle that I want you to think about. As we're doing this, cross over, shoulder down, and you're going to roll at an angle. He's going to go over your inside hip. You're going to lift that leg. You're going to push off the remaining toe, and you're going to go diagonal. And you see, I end up with my legs like a figure four at the end. And he's laying here on his back. Okay? One more time. So you don't need a partner to practice this with. You square off with a wall, and you can do this. Okay? So you're here, cross, down in here, nice and tight. Push, go. Got to keep this leg bent. That lower leg pushes against him. All right? Come and do it with me, Brendan. Be on the side of me. Our drill partner has to be on the side. He's here, down, push, boom. Now, did you hear his feet slap? That's when you know you did a pretty good roll with this, when their feet slap. Did they sting a little bit when you landed like that? Probably
I got new shoes.
He's got new shoes, they don't sting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that when a guy would drill it on me properly, it would sting whenever I would land. Okay. Is that camera?
Yep.
Okay. Now, that's our outside roll. Now, when can we do it? We can do it right for the base, right for, early on, anytime a guy is on the side of us. But also we can do it as we're coming out of a sit-out. So, let me see here. I'm going to start facing this way, right here. And so, Brendan, you get behind me in referee's position. And so I'm going to sit, I'm going to turn, and Brendan's just going to follow me around. And as he does, right here is a transition. My head's on the mat already. The transition is going to be, I'm going to post a little bit, slide my face toward him. See how I make my head turn, and as he's coming around, my outside knee can go down, my shoulder can go down, and he goes right to his back. Right? Now let me do the whole thing here. This is our little transition into this roll. Okay, I'm sitting, I'm turning, he's coming, I rotate, boom, right there. Okay. Now I'll show this right now in case we get in a situation where, camera's here?
Yep.
Okay, where we miss that leg, or we miss his lead leg. Okay, I showed you a number of rolls that we're trying to catch, block his lead leg. And I'll do this out of the one where we were in our power sit here. And if his head's on the outside here on the right side, now at this point I'm going to do the hip roll. Now watch closely. I'm coming up and I'm trying to block him. But let's say he gets up on his feet, and as I go to roll, he's starting to step across me. Now watch, I've already missed his front leg. That's the one I wanted. He's already stepped with that. Watch what I do. I go in with my roll, keep my inside leg bent, and catch under his other leg and toss that leg, his trailing leg. Now that still gets me a roll. Okay? That gets him to his side, gets him to his hip. Okay, let's look at it once more here. And this is the same concept with all rolls. Same concept with all rolls, especially shoulders up rolls. If you miss the lead leg, which you're going for, then you can still toss that other one. See, I got hooked right under here and tossed it right there. I missed the one I wanted, but I still got his trailing leg. But you have to keep your knee bent and use your lower leg, and that's just called, I just call it a leg whip. Just a leg whip. Okay? Now, that can also be for a cross arm roll. Come on over here, let me do it. Cross arm rolls, shoulders up, roll. So I'm in here, somehow, I miss this first leg. So I'm in here, cross arm roll, boom, right there it is. That's pretty powerful. I can really pop him with that. Okay. How's our time getting to be?
6. Rolled over.
Okay. Hour and 6 minutes so far. Got 54 minutes to get a bunch of stuff done yet. Okay, now, here we go. Outside leg lever stuff. By the way, on this power set situation here, the one thing I couldn't remember the other day, we'd already actually done, and that was a lot of times I'm pushing back, and we talked about doing a Granby here, and we talked about doing the arch up stand up here, but also one of the most common things that happens is I'm coming back, he takes his free arm and chops me, and when he chops me, I just fire that leg out. He's trying to chop me down. I just turn with it on my shoulder side of the head, and there we go, and I just duck out. It's just so easy. And that's my points right there. That's my reversal. Okay, so that's what that was. Also, I better do one other thing here. And that is, over on this side, if I'm messing with something here, and this gets into your counters a little bit too, if you get his wrist, if he's been trying to cradle you or grab your inside ankle or your outside ankle, you get this wrist somehow. Okay, anytime that I can get this and set it on the mat, watch what I'm starting to do. I'm unfolding, I'm going to post this hand on the mat and lean my weight on it, unfold, and I can fold this back up under here if I want to. Now I can get to my knees very quickly, or spin and face him if I want to, by unfolding that, shifting my hips and folding that, and you see now, he's just fighting me with this one arm. Okay? So now, I don't want to get my hips too far away from him. I want to stay back under him right here. Go ahead and hold on to me. Okay? See, all he can do is hold to this right here. See? Look at that. If he holds, I'll duck under him and score right here. Okay? If he stays down lower, right there, go ahead and put your palm on. If he stays down lower, I can always do this. Get both hands on him, or just one, but I put both hands down for post no matter what, either on the mat or on him, and get my butt up in the air. Once I get my butt up in the air, and I got one of his hands pinned right here, see how I have to fold this leg to do that? I do it, boom, right there. My elbow comes inside, elbow's inside, still posting him right here. He can't stop me. I can walk away from it. Now, if he keeps trying to hold on to me and reach, I'll duck back under that arm. Otherwise, I'll get an escape. Okay, so that's a little something there. And then I play a game with that. Because, as you know, I like to get reversals. So, anytime I'm sliding back in here and I can get that on the mat, right there, I'll start to turn here and look at that. And I'll just sort of pause and I'll push back into it and say, now, do you see here that I've got the zoning right there also? But a lot of times what he'll do is he'll put this arm over my shoulder right there. Or if he was starting to get a cradle and I blocked him here and I put that on the mat, he forgets about that and he leaves his arm here. That's very common. And all of a sudden, I'll grab both arms. There's my arm spin. Drop to my shoulder, come through. There's my reversal. So I'll look for that. If he makes a mistake, puts that arm over my shoulder. Okay. All right, so those things you can have fun with. But you want to keep your butt coming back under him all the time. Okay, now, let's spin this way a little bit, Brandon. Now we get into one of my favorite things to do. That's this outside leg lever stuff.
An outside leg lever is just simply spinning a little bit, push back in, spinning a little bit, and taking your top leg and just putting it over his leg. He doesn't necessarily feel threatened, especially if he hasn't had this done to him before. Now, I just put my foot on the mat. I'm over his leg, but I didn't grapevine it or anything. Okay. Now, at this point, make sure you always hold the wrist, and you've got 5 nice choices, 5 very nice choices. What often happens is, when I move into this position here, he'll reach around with his left hand, start to chop me, and drive up into me. See, he wants to drive me down on the mat. When he does, I've got my knee and lower leg on the mat, my foot on the mat here. I raise up with him. I raise my butt off the mat. So he drives me. I go up the way he's driving. Then I actually, if he's pulling on that arm, it actually helps because I want to make that hand move back toward him. I want to curl back toward him like we did with the hip roll because that's what this is going to be. Now notice, where's that tape? Over here?
Up there.
Okay, good. Notice my foot stayed on the mat and his leg still was hooked in there, or was blocked in there. Okay, chop me, drive. There it is. Now, look what I'm going to do. I'll keep this wrist, but that knee right there, my foot's still on the mat back there. My knee curls in by my shoe. You see where my hip is? It's right in his hip joint, right there. Now, I don't want to fall in the way of the roll, so I move my hand, go over here, look at my head and shoulders. I put my elbow down. See how high my head and shoulders, and my butt lands right in his gut, halfway up in his gut and his pelvis. Okay, so right there I am. Now, I still got his wrist. I let my leg slide, come back in here. Now, again, if he gets under me, then I got to try to hip heist big or try to get in. Okay, go ahead and drive into me. If he gets under me, there's a switch. Right there is where I do my switch. I let go of everything. That's my outside switch to finish that. If he goes under me. If he goes over me, then I simply jam up under his armpit and I can hip heist. Or I can come back the other way with an arm spin if he reaches over my arm. But if he reaches under me, I switch him. So the switch is a logical finish combination move off of this roll motion. Okay, I'm in here, got this. Let's turn sideways again. He drives up in and blocks me. So here I am, and as I come up, I mentioned moving his head. I also try to move this knee too. So he drives me up. See how I brought it across? There it is. So my knee swung across a little bit too along with my hand. And he falls right there. Okay, it's a great, great roll. Knocks a little bit of the stuffings out of him when he lands with my butt in it. Okay, next possibility. We're in here again. And I sort of stretch this up, and I might dial my head a little bit. And he might be foolish enough to think that he can stick a hip. And as he starts to drive that, my hand can come down by his elbow. Now I have to swing out a little bit, and now I will grapevine this. As I go to swish my hips, in other words, my top hip is going to end up on the mat. As I go to swish my hips, we call this swimming. I'm going to pull the elbow, and I'm going to stretch the leg like that. So that's the outside leg lever right there. That's the leg lever part of it. I'm going to stretch him, and his hip goes down. Now see, I'm over his leg, so I can just rotate on top here and start to wrestle. Okay, let's look at it again. That's if he throws a half. Okay, I got to get you hooked here. Oh, I'm hitting your leg there.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's if he throws a half. He doesn't have to throw a half. I could come around here, and I can actually, if I get a good grip, I could just, or if it's loose, I can just throw this. And as I swish, right there. And now I come around again. Now I didn't do a good job that time of stretching his hip, stretching his leg out. So we need to do better when we do that. Okay. So this is called, this whole thing right here, pulling the elbow, we're just swishing around, and as I swish my hips, stretching that down, that is called a slide by. That's the way I look at that.
I'm sliding by or swim by. So however you want to look at it. But you're going around the outside. You'd be surprised. Now what you don't want to do is be laying down and do this and try to swim by. Because if he gets over your leg at all, come out and step right over, step right over. Now we got a big problem. And I've had kids that thought they could do that, the good kids, and their shoulders were too low, and the guy got his leg loose and stepped over. So you never do it with your shoulders down. You always do it up here, or you don't do it at all. Okay, so that's the second option. Now here's an interesting one. Let's turn this way. This is a real easy one, especially if you wrestle with a guy that knows you do this, and you start to reach in there, and he slides back. Yeah, just start going back toward the window. Don't let me hook your leg. And I keep following it, and I time that. And after about the second one, I'll go the other way when he slides back. So let's come back in here. See, we're wrestling. Hold your head a little bit. Okay, we're wrestling. I turn and I try to start getting that. Boom. See, I just do a set and turn. Keep the rest. Get your elbow on top. Get your reversal. So as he's going away from me, I time it about the second or third one, and I throw a sit back the other way. And I got so much room in there. Probably 3 or 4 of us could sit under there together. There's a lot of space. Okay, where's there? Right here? Yep. Camera's there? Yep. Okay. So that's our third one. That's just the sit out motion when he's going back away from you. Most guys won't do that. Most guys will let you hook them. Okay? We got 2 more. One of them is a surprise. And Brendan, you're going to do this one to me.
Okay.
You'll be right here, turn sideways to the camera, and you're going to be on in your position here with your hand, and you've got me hooked. Get up on your hand. Get up on your hand. There we go. Hook over. Now all of a sudden, Brendan is going to stand. And this is similar to the arch-up stand-up. His outside foot, he's going to sort of bring it up, and as he slaps the mat, the only difference is, see where my shoulder is? He's going to try to get his butt off the mat and lean right over my shoulder. So he's going to come across my shoulder this time, right here like that. It's a little weird. Go back to the neck. Okay, so we're in here. All of a sudden he bangs that mat right there. Right there it is. Now notice what's happened here. My leg is still trapped here a little bit. My leg is still caught a little bit. It's not necessarily grapevine, but it's cumbersome if he's got his weight on me right here. And look at what I've done. I've posted myself, and I'm on my other knee. Now sometimes when he does that, a guy will actually fall right here, and all Brendan's got to do is hip heist. Well, he could come around too, but just hip heist. There it is. He's got me in trouble right here. You will knock some guys right over because they're not ready for something like that to explode at them, and they don't have their balance, and you pop and they fall right there. And then you got a chance to start throwing pinpoints right there. The other possibility, though, is sort of cool too. He's arched up here. Now right there, he can hold it with both hands. And he could either push that down through and hip heist and come around. Actually, he doesn't have to hip heist, okay? Or he could pull it up over his head. There, that was like that slide by right there. So that's another possibility with both hands. Now, I bet you I know what your favorite is. We haven't done it yet, have we? We'll see. Right here, he's got that in his hand, and he's leaning on me good. All of a sudden, he keeps his weight on his outside foot. He steps out of his hook and throws a half, puts me right on my back right there. Especially if I'm sort of hanging over on that side, leaning on my left knee and left hand pretty good. He's got a lot of power right there. So that's another possibility. All this is out of the stand-up, out of this thing. Didn't seem like there would be a possibility for a stand-up, but all of a sudden he's right up on his feet. So you got to play with that and get the balance right across the shoulders. Now the last one, I love this last one. This is probably my favorite of all. Okay, go ahead and get behind me here. We can set it up either from up here, in this position, or we can do it down on the mat. And even if the guy's got chicken wings on us and everything, it's crazy.
This puts him back on his back. Now, the hip roll option out of this outside leg lever, remember that one, this is not the same kind of roll. This is a shoulders down, leg lever up roll. And I just call it the outside leg lever roll. Outside leg lever roll. Here it is. I back my hips around in front of him and I drop my elbow to sucker him. Now remember, I don't want him to get a 2-on-1. Don't want that. So I got to keep this wrist trapped back here or up here. But I put this down close so that hopefully, just naturally, he'll reach through with that other hand and grab a bar. And of course, if he does, most of the time he'll what? He'll drive. So I'll use his momentum. Now, if he doesn't drive, I can still do it. But I just soon him use his momentum. And so as he drives, I'm going to fall diagonally forward on his shoulder. And his arm's trapped. Now, I don't, all this is one motion, so I don't ever stop here. But now look what's starting to happen. This is my leg lever. My laces are starting to turn up under there. And as I come around, I'm straightening that leg out. Now I've got a lever right now. I'm going out like that with my toe, and I'm stretching it. And now I've got his leg locked. And as I do that, I push it off this bottom leg. So see how my knee is bent? Right here. I'm going over my shoulder, side of the head. Keep this in the hand and stick it on the mat over on the other side. And I come right up on top of him with my rear. Now I've got one leg grapevine. That's my lever. I've got my forearm on the mat down here holding his wrist, or I could get right up on his wrist. And I've got a hip in his gut. And go ahead and pull your other arm out, Brendan. See, I've got it pinched in. He can't get that wrist out of the cookie jar. So all of a sudden, I just post out here. I unhook my lever. I hip ice through. Suck my air in. See, my knees on the mat. Suck my air in on my ribs. Drop down up by his armpit. I don't let this wrist go. I keep it. Now, at this point, be strong. Okay? At this point, I go on the top of the head, drop my forearm to the mat, try to face left, make his right ear touch his right shoulder, and keep him pinched, and I pin him right there. Thank you. Yep, good job. I'm putting a lot of weight on him, so I really appreciate his efforts here. Okay, here we go. He's going to be after me to diet, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm in here. I slide back around. He grabs my elbow, drives. Here we go. Boom! Just that fast. Just that fast. Hip ice, suck the air in. Go here, and I won't put all my weight on him this time. Appreciate it. Yeah. Now, one other possibility. Where's my tape up there? Okay. I could also finish it over on the other side, but I highly recommend that you don't finish over there, that you hip heist off and do what I did. I'm not even going to go into that right now over there on that other side. I want to show, he's riding me with an arm bar. And I've got a wrist control. Now again, I can't let him get 2-on-1. Got a wrist control. I'm going to push forward and get my rear in front of his thighs and hook. See where I am? Now any kind of a push by him, or he doesn't have to, I can generate it myself. All I got to do is see it over the shoulder. Right there it is. Hip heist out. Right there it is. Don't let him get his arm out. Okay, so now let's do a arm bar. In fact, let's say you got a chicken wing on my top arm. Okay, I'll slide my rear in front of you and hook that leg. See, I just hooked my outside leg lever. Now I'll drop my elbow, see if he'll grab an arm bar. If he does, he usually drives, but let's say he doesn't, I'll throw myself forward. Here we go. I got him trapped, got him trapped, got him trapped. And here he is, right on his back again. Let's go back up this way. Okay. Put that hand on the mat, see? Hip ice, right there. Okay, he had an arm bar chicken wing. Okay, now watch this. Say he's got an arm bar, and I don't have his wrist.
Okay? So here's what I do. I put my arm around like that. I hook, and I make my arm go like this for a chicken wing. If he grabs the wing, all right, go ahead and get that wing deeper. Pinch it. Now he's trapped. There he goes again. I'm worried about knocking you into the wall there. Okay? So we're always going diagonally forward. Always going diagonally forward. I would like to have a wrist in my hand. This is much better. There it is. There it is. There it is. Boom. Diagonally forward. Boy, it's easy to do. What if the guy has got me down and I hook him here and he starts to put a half in? Okay? Starts to put a half. Go ahead and get that deeper. Right there. As long as I got that wrist, I'm okay. It's not the slide by. I'm not trying to do a slide by. I'm trying to do the roll. Okay? Now there's also an inside leg lever, but you can't do as many things with it. You can't get as many options. The only difference there is, come on, get this arm bar. Okay? Inside leg lever is when he tries to step over. Go ahead and step over. See, I just intercepted him right there. I bent my knee, got it inside. And I can really throw him with it, but it's not nearly as effective in so many other ways as the outside leg lever. Okay? So that's the outside leg lever series. You saw the 5 options that I teach. You don't need all 5, but I'll tell you what, that roll, that last one, that's one you should have. Okay, what's our time now?
27.
All right, here we go. We got to be able to get up to our attacking position. And Brendan, go ahead and take a rest for a minute here.
Okay.
And I'm just going to do some of this stuff here because they need to see this. What I'm going to try to show here is we got to off-balance the guy. Number one, no matter what he's doing to us, we got to try to off-balance him, get a little bit of space, and then we've got to try to spin up toward our base. Now, before I get into that, if he doesn't have a real good ride-in on you a lot of times, then you don't have to go to this off-balancing. You just need to utilize some space that he may be giving you and get up to your base that way. And when I say base, you don't have to be all the way up here. This is an attacking position as long as you don't stay here. When you get here, you need to be going somewhere. So your shoulders are the key. If your shoulders are up, then you ought to be going somewhere. But what I'm getting at is this could be an attacking position if I've got his wrist controlled properly, if I'm in a good position. This could be an attacking position right here. It all depends on what it is that you're working on, what you're trying to do. So that's why I show these other things first. Now, the whole bottom line is, if you have space, let's say that you got tossed down, but the guy really doesn't have a good ride in, and he's over to your left side, then again, what I try to teach guys to do is to always feel for the wrist, always feel for the far wrist, and as you do, you could be bringing that knee up on that side. And as you bring that knee up, so you can keep your head down right now if you've got a wrist, and then slide your other knee up onto your chest. All right, now you got your base under you. You can use this hand to come up a little bit, and you can start doing something right now. You can start attacking. There's lots of possibilities right from that position. Okay, so it's the idea, and we used to teach guys to just feel back here, bring the knee up. You still got your other forearm here in your head, and so you're going to sort of buck your hips. We just call this tripod up and bring your other knee up. And then we would have them just go across the mat. Do it on one side and then fall forward. Feel for the other one here. Feel for the other wrist. Pop that knee up underneath and fall forward again and keep doing it. So do on one side, do on the other side. We just call that tripoding. But you're going forward. You're not going straight up where you are. You're going forward. One of the little things that I say about down wrestling is, if in doubt, go forward. If in doubt, go forward. Too many guys go side to side to side and never get out of anything. But forward, a lot of times, is a nice direction. And it'll give you some space to work with. Okay, so that's one possibility there. Another possibility is, say we're caught on our side, and the guy is here facing us. This is not good. This is a bad deal. But we've got to deal with it. So a hip heist is something that I would like to do. And so what I'm going to try to do is attack him before he totally gets me. So I'm going to attack one of his arms, his terrorizing arm, if I can get that one, the one that he wants to reach at me with. I'm going to try to get it with both hands, and watch what I do. I put my feet on the mat like this. The top leg is always in front of the bottom leg. And I'm going to bend my knees, dig, and if I catch this arm, I'm laying on my side. I'm going to try to pull it forward and stick it on the mat. I'm going to try to post it, and as I do, I'm pushing with my feet, pushing myself on my shoulder, side of the head, and look what's starting to happen to my hips. My hips are coming up, and this bottom leg is going to hip heist around and come up under my chest. Not straight up, around. And watch what's holding me up while this is happening. It's going to be this foot and my face, my forehead. My forehead holds me up a lot, my wrinkles. Now that's way under me now. Now I can slide this knee up, and I've got him posted here, and I can actually start getting away from this guy. I let loose of the one hand, and I can start doing some of the stuff that we talked about doing earlier when we were posting a hand on the mat. Now, Brendan, come on over here so they can see this. This is an important one, because this is a bad position. Come right over here. This is where Brendan is where I try to get my guys to be all the time. This is bad. So if I'm wrestling with one of my guys and he gets over here, I know I'm in for something. He's either going to try to half me, face lift me, catch my bottom arm, bundle me, whatever. Just carve me up. But it's usually going to be what? This arm. You know which arm it is. And so as he comes over here, as he starts to go for me, I got my hands right here. I know he's got to come here. And I can't see that arm. I just know it's going to be there. I'm ready when it comes. So I grab him. Now right here, I'm going to dig my feet in the mat. I'm going to start pushing forward and try to plant that. Now on my shoulder and side of the head. As my hips are up, then I'm going to bring my knee around it up under, and my forehead goes to the mat. Then I can push myself up with my other hand, and see, I still got him posted. He's wrestling me with one arm right now. So watch this. Hold me up just a little bit now. Be strong. Look at it. We didn't even talk about that. Right around the corner. See, grab his hip. Right around the corner again. Roll right over his arm. Okay. All right. I don't want to go away from a guy. I want to reverse him. Okay. Camera's over there?
Not behind you.
Whoa. Okay. So here we are again. One more time. One more time. What's our time getting to be?
33.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to intercept him. I'm going to try to post, drive forward, post. I'm up on my shoulder. And then my bottom leg has to rotate around, get up here, right up in here. Now I'm in good shape. Okay, so that's another possibility. Now, slide back out of the way for a moment, Brenda, and I'm going to do this. We already know about the leg lever. That's one of two ways to off balance. We hook, guys riding this with something. We hook, bottom leg is bent, foot's on the mat. I'm going to lift, and I'm just going to try to drop this guy sideways. If he falls all the way over, that's cool. If he just goes sideways and still stays up, that's okay too, because I want space. And so I'm hooking, watch my leg, it's just going to arc up and deposit it right there. Now notice, I didn't turn my shoulders, I didn't go to my back. I'm still working in here on his arms and stuff. But I just got some space there for my legs. Now, once I dump him there or move him there, I unhook right away, get this foot on the mat. I don't even bring it back to here. I just unhook, get it on the mat, to push with. Because I'm going to do something called a spin up. And I'm spinning by walking, by running as fast as I can, tippy-toeing. And it could be, if I got lots of space, I'll just need one long step with my bottom leg and then throw this knee to my head and I'll be up to my base. But most of the time, you're probably going to need about 1, 2, 3 over. The fourth one comes over. So a lot of my guys just call this bottom top, but it's spinning up. I'm spinning up. And you can practice it this way. You off balance, put your foot on the mat, and you always, always, always start with the bottom foot. Always. Never start stepping with the top foot. Just trust me. Always the bottom foot. Keep your knees bent. The longer leg guys really have to focus on this. Because the longer your legs are out here, the slower you are in your turn. You want to take real fast turn. So very compact here. On your tiptoes here. On your tippy toes. And so here we go. Hopefully I've got a hold of a wrist right here. And I'll be going step, 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 over. Right here. Now there's nothing magic about 4 steps or 3 steps and an over. You can do 6, you can do 8, whatever. I recommend you don't go any farther than 4 though, and if you can't get over, then you stop and you blast the guy that's following you with your hips and off balance him again. That is called a bump, and that's the other way to off balance. So first of all, we could just practice spinning by just bottom, top, bottom, over, and then you can fall to the other side because you got to know it on both sides. So bottom, top, bottom, over to here. You're spinning on your shoulder, side of the head, and you're coming up to your knees. Okay. That's some more of your sit stuff. That's really sort of involved with your sit-out motion right there. Okay, camera's there?
Behind you.
Woo! Getting turned around too much here tonight. Okay, so now, the bump. This is a hard one for guys. And the bottom line of the bump is you're trying to go diagonally up into the guy, not across. And this is what everybody has a problem with. They can't figure out where the guy's ribs are. They go across and they miss the guy. They go under it or something. We're trying to push up into him. And even if you don't bump him, if you just put your hips against his ribs and do this, and just do walk, 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 it's amazing how you could push that guy around and off balancing. I realized that once when I had a heavyweight that had a real hard time doing a bump. And I said, well, can you just put your hips up here and lean against this guy and start walking? My goodness, he knocked me all over the place with those hips. And he wasn't fast or anything, but he had it in the right position and he used the power that generates. So you can either bump or walk it. Now, when I teach the bump, here's how I teach it. I've got a wrist control usually, and I'll curl up with my top leg in front of my bottom leg, and I'm supporting myself with my shoulder, side of the head, arm, lower or upper arm, and my 2 feet. And I have to aim up into this man, up into his ribs. I want to hit him in the midsection somewhere as hard as I can with my power. I want to spring load this and really give him a pop. I'm trying to knock him down. But if I don't knock him down, again, I want to knock him sideways to get some space before I spin up. So same concept. Here we go. Up, and I'm going to push hard. This is the way you practice it. Push hard, go up, and land back here. And then immediately, which leg? Bottom leg. Bottom, top, bottom, over. Right there. Okay. So, camera.
Yep.
Okay, so here I go. I'm down, guys riding me, curl up. Whoops, I slipped. Curl up, bump, land, bottom, top, bottom, over. Right there. Okay. Brendan, come on over now. What time is it? Or how?
39.
Okay. I'm going to show how to get out of a few rides. Anybody that tries to ride you with a tight waist, you should immediately start scoring. That's a mistake. Okay? And I'll talk more about that when I'm doing the rides and stuff. But I don't believe in really doing a tight waist. I don't want my arm around there. Okay, so here he is. Let's sit. I'm going to have him do 2 things. I'm going to have him do an arm bar, single arm bar, and a tight waist. So reach way down. There he goes. There he goes. Hard for him to get around my waist. Okay, so he's got me here. He's got a tight waist. Now, I can't get to his wrist very well. and he's squishing me and everything, and he's driving me and making my ribs sink. And what I'm going to do is I can either push forward, get my rear in front of him, and hook that leg. See that? Now I've got the outside leg lever. Or I can just come up and just try to bump into it. Either one will work. Either one's good. Okay. Now let's do the leg lever right now. Since I can't get his wrist, I get his elbow, and I put the palm of my hand right on the tip of the elbow. All 4 of my fingers go underneath the bone there, so I pull. Thumb really doesn't do anything. Now, he's strong, he's staying in there, he's squeezing the bejeebers out of me. What I got to do is get this eventually up here on my neck. The way I do it is to get space first. I'll get in here, hook this leg, post my foot on the mat, push, and just drop him over there. Now look at my shoulders. I didn't turn them at all. And I'm pulling on this elbow all the time. I'm keeping the slack out of it. Look where my elbow is pointed. Don't have it down here. That won't work. Elbow up. Pull with your fingers. Now right here, this leg comes back to the mat to push. Bottom leg first. Now watch, I'm pulling. Now keep it as tight as you can. I'm pulling, and look at him start sliding up. Look at him start sliding up. Look at him start sliding up. And right about here when I turn, when my knee's coming over, my hand's still on that elbow, but I'm going to slide down to the wrist and guide it to my neck right at this point. Right here. It's around my neck. He's still got his arm on my bottom arm. Now I'm taking care of the tight waist, but he's still got his arm bar. If I pull my arm out, he'll trap it and put it behind me or something, and he's got a hammer lock, and this isn't very good. Okay? So I always stick, if he's got an inside, a single arm bar, I always stick that arm through my crotch, stretch it down through my crotch, twist it loose. Okay, so right here, I've got him up around my neck with the other arm, I'm on my forehead. I stick that fist through my crotch and it'll come loose. Then I just rotate my knees, come out and cut him off, or all the way out if I want to come out. Or any of the other things, rock and roll, arm and leg stuff, right here. Okay, we got some good stuff right there. So anytime, I think they can see that.
Yep.
Okay, anytime he's got a bar, I'll just do it myself for a second. Anytime he's got a bar and I come up, always stick it through the crotch. Now, if he holds on, if he's really strong, he's got long arms, then you do this. You go up on your forehead to the front bridge, you keep sticking it through and walk around in a circle, and that'll break it off. That'll twist it off, I guarantee it. So you elevate that. That's for the guy that you can't just twist off. Usually you could twist it off through the crotch and you never have to go up in a front bridge like that. But you notice I'm always having my head on the mat when I'm doing this stuff. As long as I control one wrist, I'm okay to put my head on the mat. If I don't control one wrist, better get your head off the mat. Okay, that's the difference. All right, now let's do the bump. Come on back. Tight waist again. Arm bar, tight waist. Get down deep with that shoulder. Okay, now here we go. I got his elbow. Hold tight now. Okay, I'm going to come up here, try to find this midsection, pop into it. See, I can do pretty good with him. Now notice, most guys at first let loose of that, so this guy re-grabs down here. So once I start pulling on this elbow, crucial time is when I either bump him or leg lever him. You got to keep the pull, so hold tight. Way around there. All right, ready? Here we go. Pop. See, I keep pulling on that. I don't let him get his elbow back down. And here we go. Now he starts scrambling, bottom, top, bottom. See, and I got his wrist up here right now. And through the crotch. See? He's over balance already. Okay, so that's a tight waist. So you can see how this whole bumping or leg levering can get you off balancing the guy, and then you spin up to your base the other way. Okay, let's do a 2-on-1, Brendan. I think 2-on-1 is one of the nicer rides. You can do a lot of stuff from it. It's a tough ride. I have to get this arm off before I can go anywhere. If I start spinning up now, it's not going to be very good. Even though I can off-balance him and all that, 2-on-1 just gives you too much advantage. So here's the way this works. I put my V right on his wrist, right here, on the thumb side blade. And right here, I just got a hold of it. I'm not doing anything fancy. I just put it over it. And I curl up. I can either leg lever it. Now see right now his thigh's up too far. I got to slide forward to get my butt in front. Then I can leg lever. See, then I can hook it. So my butt's got to be in front. But if I just want to bump him, my butt doesn't have to be in front. It can go right up in here. See, boy, I can get him good right there. Now notice what I just did here. When I bumped him, and the same thing would happen if I leg levered, look at my hands. Now remember, this was a 2-on-1. But when we bump or off balance him in some way, I jam my hands down toward my thighs, down toward my knees. Usually he loses this one right here. And look at this one now. I can V that. Now most of you guys are going to be strong enough where you can just hold your V like this and twist your other hand toward his thumb and come right out. And then you re-grab. You either re-grab there or you pull here. If you re-grab there, oh, what's this starting to be? Arm spin stuff right here. Yeah. Okay. And you don't worry about this arm. Even if he gets a bar back on, we already know, bottom, top, bottom, over, and then look at, we know how to put that to the crotch, right? So we're not worried about that bar. A single bar, we're not. Okay? So let's look at this again. He's got a good 2-on-1 on me, just reefing on me right here. So I got to put my hand on the wrist, curl up, bump him, push that down toward my thighs right here. Now let's say he's just such a stud that I can't, anymore I have trouble twisting out a guy, especially guys my size. I can't, I twist, I can't do it anymore, I don't have the strength. So all I'm going to do is bring this back up toward me, make my fist go down, use my little finger blade on his crease of his elbow right there. You okay?
Yeah.
All right? And I'll just chop it right there. See? And as I chop it, as I chop it, I can twist this off. Right there. And now again, I got a choice. Catch, put it here. I got three good choices. Either put it to my neck, either push it off down there, and I'll show you what we do with that. You okay? Anthony?
Yeah, man. I'm just
Okay, he's going numb.
Yeah.
Okay, either pull it to the neck, either put it in that hand and do arm spin stuff and come around, which is just so easy to do. Or, watch this, put my arm out perpendicular. This is a perpendicular motion right here. And I'm going to slap my tricep, turn my palm to the mat, and sit up right there. Nobody could stop me. Nobody could stop me from doing that when I do that motion. Now I've got his wrist right here. So I can what? I'm into power sit. Sometimes I might have guided this wrist off of my hip here, started posting that and doing the things that we've talked about doing there. So there's three directions this wrist can go. Neck, or extended, or down there. Any of that. Okay. So, again, that's how to break the 2-on-1. Now, let's break a Navy. What's our time getting to be?
48.
Okay. Let's break a Navy ride. Navy ride, we're going to do Navy ride on another tape. Excellent ride. Excellent ride. But no, hardly anybody knows how to break it. Most people just scissor. Okay. Here's the best way I know. I know a couple ways, but this is the best way right here. See my feet? I'm going to make them come right over here. I curl around right next to his legs, right next to his outside thigh, right there. Put both feet on the mat, outside of my one, inside of my other. Okay? And if he's a good Navy man, he's in this position. He's right down here with his head, so I can't pry him off or anything like that. He's doing real well. And he's got his elbow on the mat. Excellent position, Brendan. The only thing he doesn't have is my arm trap. So before he can drive and get my arm trapped, I got to do this. So as soon as he goes into the Navy, my legs come back, I push myself up and under him. Under first, and then I try to raise myself up. So my hips are coming up, and I'm going to chop him right here. Boom, right there. And he goes right to his back. But I have to go back under him, and I have to have my feet in that position. I scissored. I brought his arm off the mat, and that's the key in the Navy ride. We got to get his elbow off the mat in order to do well. So as soon as he gets me here, I'm going to make my feet here. I'm going to slide back under, and all of a sudden I'm going to lift up and chop right here. Now watch his elbows off the mat, scissor the legs, chop right here to his back. Now I don't like this position, but it's a lot better than what I was just in. And so we'll work around, work out. Usually he'll start panicking a little bit right there. Okay? Ref might start counting for me. Okay, so that's the way I would counter that. Now, we've already talked about the fact that if a guy grabs my outside ankle, then I'm going to just sit and throw it. Now, if he's picking it up in the air, most guys just pick it up and they don't do any good things with it. So if he picks it up, I go up on my other foot and follow up with it. See, so go ahead, pick it up. I follow up, and now I throw my sit in the air and grab for that. Boom. See, as I land, I grab for it. Let's go way back here. Takes a little space. So as he's starting to pick that baby up, he gets it up in the air, and I can't just reach back and get it. Okay, so he's bringing it up. I come up, I throw, land, and as I land, my hand's already on it. See? And then here we go. Pop. Pull right through. So I'm gonna score off of that. I have done the things where you know, he's got my ankle, breaking my ankle, where you rotate back and push down and all this. Most of that just involves getting an escape. And it takes a little bit of strength sometimes. I don't want to get involved with that. I want to do this one that I just showed. It's so easy, anybody can do it. Now, inside ankle rides. Those are tough. Very tough. I really like them. But there is one way to counter it, but you got to do it right away. So you have to practice. Okay, guy starts to grab my inside ankle. Before he can do much with it, I'm going to sit. And what I have to do is get my right hand. In this case, he's using his right hand on my ankle. I got to get my right hand. Go ahead and get around there with me. Okay. As I sit, I got to get this around and do a V right there. See, I'm V'ing his wrist right there. Now, that V is not going to take that off of there. What's going to get my leg out is the next thing. See, he's up here, he's still trying to catch my arm and drag me and everything. The next thing is I'm going to V it, and then I'm going to pull my own foot back away from his hand. I'm not going to pull it straight out because that's against his fingers. But I'm going to V it, and I'm going to pull it back toward him. See? And then out. So I'm pulling it back and out. Don't pull against his hand. Okay, so here we go. He's picking up that inside ankle, and right away, right there it is. See, I turn, I drop my hip to the mat, I try to block it right there and try to pull it back in there. And now, look. And many times he'll be reaching over again, see? And now I can go to here. Okay. Once he gets focused on the other hand, he'll do crazy things with his one arm. I'm always watching that arm. Okay? All right. Let me see what else can we... Oh, hook the leg ride. Guy hooks my leg. It's a tough ride. If he's active with it. Most guys aren't active. Now remember, I've shown you cross arm roll, near side toe hook, far side toe hook. So there's several things we can do from here. But also, if we just want to get out of this, what we do is, we'll turn this way. My toe, I post it on the mat. And I'm going to throw my hips sideways. Now, I'm keeping my hands on the mat right now, or I might have one wrist. It would be nice if I had this wrist. And I'm going to throw my hips out to the outside, make this foot try to go down on the mat on the inside of it, and straighten my leg out as much as I can. When I'm doing that, we'll turn this way now, my knee is coming up and trying to pop him in the gut, trying to pop him in the abdomen, right there. Okay? So I'm here, and I'm going bam, right there. You really got to practice. Just boom, right there, as soon as he starts hooking with that leg. Now what I'm doing, even if he's pretty good at here, I'm opening up space, is what I'm doing. And what I intend to do, whether I got this wrist or not, is making a bam, and then right away, I see my other knee here, I slide my knee and push off of his own thigh. And this foot that is, this leg that has opened things up, I'm going to throw my knee knee right down. I'm going to corkscrew my knee right back toward the mat, point my toe, and try to corkscrew my leg way out underneath my chest here. Way out. So this is a move that I'm going to travel on. Where's that tape here? Okay. So as I travel, I'm expecting him to dive to put his arms around me. And in that case, I might take a cross arm roll. I might switch. I might stand up with either foot. See how I would have just slid out on this one, so I might stand up with the outside one now. I might whizzer. I might shoulder wrap. Lots of possibilities. Okay, so here we are. He hooks my leg. We're wrestling. Boom, boom. Right here. See, a lot of times you can just get totally out away from the guy. Okay, so, and I keep my shoulders up, as you saw. Okay, so that's a good one for that. Let me see here. What else can we, what time is it?
56.
Okay, let me show one last little thing here. Camera?
Yep.
Okay. This is something that is my own special little thing, and I don't see it done. It's called a cross-arm stand-up. And here's how it's going to be. I'm going to be in here, in my cross-arm position, and I'm in my regular power sit position. And then I'm going to swing this leg out, turn my hip, and fold this one. All right, that's no big deal. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to change arms. I'm going to cross arm. So here I go. Cross arm. This hand now is my post. Now look what I've got here. He has no hand over on this side to work with. I'd like to push back into him, stay close, and now watch. This hand's down. This knee, or this foot, is going to step over here. I'm going to go to that knee. Now look what I've got. I've got 3 things on the mat. Actually 4. My 2 feet, my knee, and my hand. Plus I've got his cross arm here. He doesn't have anything to use on me here. All he's got is his other arm. I like to slide into him. Now try to keep your weight on me. You know, he's trying to keep me down. And at any point, see, if I get under his chest at all, I can easily replace my knee with my foot, nice and wide. See, my butt's down? And I can lift a guy way, 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 way bigger than me and stand up. Now look what I got still. I still got his arm. Now if he locks his hands or something, man, oh man, is he setting himself up for a cross-arm roll? He's high. Right? I can even step out and do a switch. What were you going to say?
Shoulder wrap.
Oh, there's a shoulder wrap right there. Oh my goodness sake. And I could just bury him right here. I won't do it. But my goodness, shoulder wrap. Yeah, he felt that. Okay, now let's look at this again. Stay back for a minute here. Okay, I'm in here, got the wrist. How much time we got?
58.
Okay, now watch. Try this here. I'm pushed back in. All of a sudden change, and there it is. And as soon as we do this, we don't have to sit there. Okay? Change, there, right up here, get back under him, and stand. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to be strong. You just have to get comfortable with this. If you want to get to your feet, you can do it with this cross-arm stand-up. And nobody does it. And I've messed with it and challenged college guys and coaches to show me how to defeat this. And nobody does, but then they don't bother to learn it either. Okay? Come on back, Brendan. The beauty of it is you keep your shoulders forward. See the position right here. Now he's got one hand. He could try to hold on to my foot or something. Go ahead and try to hold on to that foot. I want you to see. All I got to do is lean on it. You know?
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for him to pick that foot up. And even if he does, see, I can step right there. See, now here's a switch here. Boy, could I drop down and drop my hips on the mat for that.
I'd be looking.
Yeah. But even here, see, I might fake a switch, and then I might just come back around this way and roll you across or something. Just crazy stuff. But the whole idea is, I'm going to get on my feet. I'm going to get on my feet with that motion right there.
the cross arm stand up. Okay, I think we've done quite a bit. I'll show some counters to some pins later. How much time we got?
It's 2 now.
Okay, I want to thank Brendan. I thanked him at the end of the last tape, but it ran out, so we didn't see it. So he did some good work here. I really appreciate it, Brendan. And when we send these, you need to look at both tapes because some of the stuff from the first tape applied to the positions we were getting here in the second tape. So that, like the power sit and so forth. Okay, good luck. Practice all these things slowly, and then fit them together with a little transition things. Okay, go ahead and